got to talk some Lions.
Yep.
And it was interesting, man. This was something that caught my attention right away. One, because it's a player that we've already had some discussion about, that year 2 leap that you want to see. And this is a player I believe is the most important one that you need to take that year 2 leap. You saw already the level of importance they placed on the role that Terrion Arnold was going to have. And I think that it was foreshadowing who they want him to be. They instantly threw Terrion Arnold out there to the Wolves. They put him out there in a lot of single and man coverage, and they allowed him to go out there and make his mistakes and grow through it in a big spot for this team. And I do believe that going into this next year, you're looking for more of the same, because if you have a cornerback who can affect the completion percentage as effectively as he did with as many reps as he saw in coverage, that's a person who makes your defense that much better, especially when we don't feel they might have addressed the edge the way we wanted them to.
Yeah, so the man that they are predicting to take a leap, PFF, is Terrion Arnold. TA. And the write-up really quick. Do you mind reading that, JB Smooth?
Oh, yeah, I got you. It says, Arnold's rookie year did not go as planned for former first-round pick, though it's not often easy for any rookie cornerback to come into the league and immediately start shutting down NFL talent. Arnold still allowed just a 61.2% reception rate when targeted, a top 25 mark among 73 qualifying cornerbacks. For Arnold, the best is certainly yet to come, as his time at Alabama as a high-end coverage corner would suggest.
Interesting, because PFF does start off with Arnold's rookie year did not go as planned, which I agree with that, much to the chagrin of a lot of people, of my colleagues at this network. And this is actually big coming from PFF, because a lot of you guys might not know this. I'm obviously a bigger PFF fan than most, but PFF was not very complimentary of the season that Terrion Arnold had last year. They had him graded low. They had him graded low even in the context of other corners in the NFL and even other rookies. Not very high on the season that he had. But I will say this about Terrion, even though I am not as high on his rookie year as some. I've always said you saw some things that you can build upon. The completion percentage allowed when targeted is objectively good. 61.2 is objectively good. You saw that in man coverage, he really thrived as opposed to every other type of coverage he was in. He was good in man coverage. He was put there often and did a really good job.
One of the highest rates in the league.
Absolutely. And also the 10 penalties, and I know we've been over this a lot, 8 of them were in the first 4 weeks. He cleaned that up towards the end of the year. So yes, even though his rookie year to me was fine enough for a rookie, he's got a foundation that he can build upon. And even PFF, a site that did not grade him high, the fact that they recognize it, I actually think it's a pretty big deal.
I do too. That's what caught my attention right away, because we're all sitting here wondering about the year 2 leap. Internal growth for this team is very important, because it's your assets that you have under control that are going to play big important roles that are cheaper right now. We're sitting here as it relates to the defensive line and offensive line, the trenches, hoping that they can go and make some additions that aren't going to stop our ability to keep the players here that we've drafted. Everybody liked seeing Amon-Ra get paid, Panay get paid. Everybody liked seeing Kirby Joseph get the bag. The only way that you can realistically keep that going forward is if these players like Terrion Arnold take that step forward and they prove to be those dudes. If he does, then it gives you a few more years during this window to have a little bit more cap space. Take care of the guys that you already have here. And when it's time for TA to get his bag, the cap space will be higher. Things will roll over more in his favor as it relates to how the roster will look. And he was going to have a good opportunity to earn that. I wonder if there were things that the Lions could have done after seeing the certain coverages that he faced to be able to hide TA or to be able to play him less to in the positions that will tend towards his mistakes. But what we saw is that the Lions know best. When we're talking about development, we're talking about the coaching staff and what they're doing to put these players in their best position to succeed. You said it right. This guy only had a couple penalties the last, 13 weeks of the season, and he was placed in a lot of positions to where, as if he's a handsy player, you would think. They didn't reduce the amount of man coverage he was in. They still said, hey, look, this is what we need from you right now. And he was able to go out there, learn on the fly, get a little bit better. And I believe that figuring that out and having a full offseason with that mentality, understanding what it's going to take, understanding what your team is going to need from you. And I do believe the defense got a little bit better. I believe that this does bold and set up well for Terrion Arnold to have a year 2 breakout, a leap to where we believe he's not just, okay, we see the growth, but we see a player who's stepping into one of those cornerbacks who makes the conversations a little uncomfortable.
Well, I wonder too if there's any validity to baptism by fire, because he certainly
He got it.
No, I mean, when you look at last year, obviously Carlton Davis went out later in the year, and Ennis Rakestraw, his fellow mate in his rookie class, I believe played less than 50 snaps due to injury. And we all know towards the end, when Carlton Davis was out, was when the Lions were playing their playoff game and their highest leverage regular season game, which was the last one in which they won the division. That's a lot to put on a young corner, and that's also great experience. He's played in big games. I thought he played really well in the Vikings game, not so much the Commanders game, but the Vikings game he actually did play well. So as I was saying before, there is a foundation, and I do, even though I've been more skeptical of him than others, I think he's going to at least take a leap in year 2, whether it's a CB1 type of leap, doesn't have to because DJ Reed's on the other side, whether it's just getting better in terms of, having a lower passer rating allowed when targeted, allowing fewer big plays, allowing fewer touchdowns, maybe getting a pick or 2, which I'm not super concerned about the no picks, but it would be nice. There's a lot of room for him to grow, and
He had his opportunities to get his picks.
And that's all right. Like I said, I'm not as married to interceptions as some. I mean, Quinyon Mitchell didn't get any either.
But as he is, you want to see him get one pick.
I know. His safety teammates did a fine enough job, and Carlton Davis did a fine enough job in that Texans game. He won the game for them with his pick. So his teammates picked him up
like a prophet.
We need some takeaways, man. Right as it was happening, you see Carlton Davis like,
look at that, man.
Yeah.
Voice the reason, JB Smooth. What up, though, man? Help balance this conversation a little bit. Tell us what's right. Tell us what's wrong. You got Terrion Arnold. PFF is saying that he's a breakout candidate. Yeah. I do believe the Detroit Tigers, but just based on internal growth and some of the fine-tuning they did on defense, are going to be a little bit better and a lot better when you actually get healthy. This bodes well, in my opinion, for a TA breakout.
I agree with PFF and everything that you guys have said as well, too. As this past previous season, you've seen flashes of this, pop up from him from game to game. I know he gets a little handsy from time to time. Penalties suck, but obviously he still was a rookie and he was still learning. I think after a season under this Detroit Lions belt, he'll fully try to understand and get what he needs to do out there on the field. Obviously, health is an issue as well that, you want to make sure he's okay, he's good to go every single game and every single rep. But I think for a bounce back, this is a perfect spot and a perfect opportunity for him as it is right now. So he's got my vote for a bounce back player.
Definitely. And that dude, Justin, Terrion Arnold, I know that you've been very, very high on these young cornerbacks and believing that they will be able to reach the measure. I know that you're still the president of the Ennis Rakestraw fan club as well. But, Terrion Arnold, this year 2 jump, PFF is predicting it. And I'm so glad that Flannel included the context that this is a site that has largely graded him tough to this point, but they did see enough out of Terrion Arnold to believe that between what the Lions did to shore themselves up and what Terrion Arnold can do to improve on those weaknesses, that he is a prime breakout candidate. And I guess a question as well is, what does breakout year look like for you as it relates to Terrion Arnold?
Well, I definitely agree with PFF. I think that Terrion Arnold has showed a lot of potential, especially in those last 3 games of the season. He had a 56% completion percentage against him in that span and really was taking away half the field. He didn't let up more than an average of 50 yards per game in the last 3 games as well. So I do expect Terrion to take a big jump, but that was with the injuries to Carlton Davis and Amik Robinson in that last game as well. So I really think that he is going to take a nice step, and I think that the next step for him is just showing that he can be a week-by-week cornerback 2 at the floor, but also I think his ceiling is still a cornerback 1. I think he still has that in his bag. Not every draft prospect is created equal. Some draft prospects come in and they're Patrick Surtain and they're immediately, or Sauce Gardner, and they're immediately one of the best corners in the league. Others can have longer trajectories over more seasons where they need to develop, especially when they don't have the help with all the injuries like how Terrion Arnold did. So I do think Terrion Arnold does have the potential to get to that cornerback 1 status, but I do think he's going to take a step into legitimacy as a cornerback 2 this season.
Hey, you know what, chat? Get your comments in as well. Get your answers in. I want to hear from you guys. What does a breakout year look like for you as it relates to Terrion Arnold? And Final Sam, for you, what does that look like? Paint the picture for us, Final Angelo.
All right. I'm more, if I'm talking about the cornerback style that I like, and this is where I think me and WeeCD313 are going to disagree a bit in the chat, because I'll read his comment because it relates to basically what I think in terms of a breakout year. He basically said that in order to justify the first round picks, he needs some interceptions from Terrion Arnold. He also mentioned Jack Campbell as well, but the Jack Campbell discussion is for another day, and I think he's certainly proven a lot more than Terrion Arnold has. But with Terrion Arnold, if you want me to put a number to it here, I'll put some numbers to it. I would like to see him allow less than an 85 passer rating when targeted. This year he was at 99. I'd like to see that dip down to about 85. The completion percentage allowed when targeted, I'm fine with 61.2. That's very, very good, although I think there's even room for improvement there, although I'm not pounding the table for it. I'd also like to see maybe in the 500s or 600s in terms of yards allowed and maybe 2 touchdowns or less. I think that's doable.
With the turnover, with the flags turned down to start the season.
Sure, but I'm not even as worried about the flags right now because he did that like in the season. He wasn't a penalty. He wasn't a penalty machine at all. He was a super duper uber penalty machine in the first 4 weeks, but then he turned into not penalty prone at all. That's actually that's a testament to his play. But to just repeat, I would say 85 passer rating allowed when targeted or lower. The same completion percentage allowed is fine. Continue to excel in man coverage. Maybe between 500 and 600 yards allowed when targeted. Maybe 2 touchdowns. And I would like to see at least an interception or 2. Although if he can do a better job at coverage, period, I'm not pounding the table for that either. But I do think an interception or 2 will come this year.
Hey, you know, I like that. And do you mind if we take a little bit, say what up to some friends, come back to talk more Terrion Arnold and Lions defense, because I'm wondering, they said that Brad Holmes was a secondary whisperer and cornerback guy before he got here, on his way here to Detroit, and we were wondering, when is he going to address this? Well, right now he has that secondary looking really, really scary right now, especially top heavy when you talk about those safeties. I'm wondering how much the bag that Kirby got, knowing that Aiden's about to get that big investment too. I wonder how much faith he's putting in this secondary, taking a big step forward to actually be more of a help for the pass rush, because he clearly didn't address the edge the way a lot of people thought. But you look at the investments and how the picks have panned out in that secondary, and that's where I believe he's saying, you know what, I need you guys to go out there and be stars of this defense next year.
And before, I just got to read this comment from Krugy. Please be trolling. In order for Arnold, in my opinion, to be considered a breakout season, is at least 30 pass deflections, 5 interceptions, and 2 picks. Come on.
Wow.
Come on, Krugy.
He's looking for him to be in his prime right now.
Come on, Krugy.
Super prime.
So prime Deion Sanders or
Super
bum?
prime, bro. Hey,
30 pass deflections is okay.
I want to hear from Kavasi on the other end of the break too, man, about TA and then get more into this defense. That's something, man.
That's impossible. That will not happen. And that's okay, by the way. That's more than